Hello, everyone. I am Tiffany Castleberry with Unchained Life, and I have been unsure about what I wanted to do for my next episode. And then today has been today's been a day. And I wasn't going to do anything, and then I just heard a word and just literally started crying. So I'm jumping on here. I don't know how long this is going to be or how short this is going to be. Who knows? But what I wanted to get on here and discuss is having a purpose and going through life and feeling like you take 2 steps forward and 5 steps back, and just feeling like every time you try to reach for whatever your passion is or what your heart's desire may be, that you feel like you get pushed back. And I listened to a couple of sermons today, and one the reason I've been in a mood clearly since my podcast that I labeled bad mood, but I've been in a mood for a week or two about some things that are going on, and it's it comes and goes, but for the most part, I'm just having a difficult time shaking it. And so this morning, when I was looking for a sermon that I wanted to listen to on the way to work, I picked the one that was titled I'm Annoyed. And I felt like that's got to be what I need to listen to right now. And it was a great message. It was by Pastor Robert Madu. He is in Dallas at a church, I believe that's called Social Dallas. And but he was preaching at Elevation, which is the church that I typically pay attention to. I'll watch because they don't have one in my location, unfortunately. And I usually don't, when I go to Spotify to listen to one of Pastor Furtick's, excuse me, sermons, I usually only listen to him, not any of the guest pastors, just because I really like Pastor Furtick. But when I saw I'm Annoyed as the title, I was like, ooh, let's see what that one's about. Maybe it'll help me get out of this funk and crap that I'm in. So I'm listening to it, and it's talking about how how Paul and Silas have gone, I don't remember where they were, but they've gone to another location to preach and start up a church and this, that, and the other. And um this woman, every time before they get up to preach or to speak, she gets up every time and she's like, and the two people, or and the gospels, or so any, I don't remember exactly what it is, but she says the same thing every stinking time that they get up. And it says Paul got annoyed, and so he cast the demon out of her. I guess it was the demon that was doing that. I need to go back and read the story in the Bible instead of just listening to the few verses, because I feel like there's a whole lot more there. But anyways, it was just it was humorous to me because I understand that feeling. I understand how people can do stuff and then you just get to the point to where you're just like, I want get out, demon. Unfortunately, I don't have Paul's power. And most of the people that I would say annoy me are probably not full of demons. They're just people being human, because that's what we do, right? Anyway, um I say that because it really was that I sermon had given me some insight and some ideas that I wanted to talk about on another episode. But then my day completely changed, and I got home. I'd gotten a notification on my phone that my Wi-Fi wasn't working, that something may be wrong. Didn't really look into it because I mean I was at work, it was whatever. And I get home and my garage door will not open. And I just keep hitting the button over and over and over. I'm like, okay, maybe it just needs me to hold it longer. Like, and then I stopped doing the universal one that's in my Jeep and I grabbed the actual remote that's in my compartment. I can't think right now, you guys. And it's not working. And so I'm like, this just doesn't make sense. Like, what is wrong with my garage? Like, did somebody come over and mess with my house? Like, what is going on? So I go in through my front door and I go into the garage and I hit the garage button thinking that maybe, it's just the button in my Jeep or something. And I can't get the light in the garage to turn on. The light on the garage door opener is not on. I'm like, what is going on? I look around, there's no clocks on my oven or my microwave. Like, the TV's off. There's no power. I look at the thermostat, it's down to 61 degrees, which my dogs are fine because I have two Great Pyrenees and they love it. I'm not thrilled about it. And I realize that my power is off. And so I look at my phone again and look at my notifications, and there's notifications about, power is out at 2:07. And I'm like, probably should have paid more attention to that. And I'm like, okay, well, surely it's just something that's going on around the neighborhood, something random. I don't know, maybe they're working on something from the ice, whatever. So I call. You guys, I am crazy about my credit score and making sure that I pay bills early, really, but definitely on time. I do not miss. I've never missed. So I call, report a power outage. She goes, there's not a power outage. I was like, my power is out in my house. I'm telling you, there's a power outage. She goes, no, you haven't paid your bill since September. I said, excuse me? Entire mood changed because, like I said, I'm crazy about my credit score and about paying bills early, much less on time. So the fact that I haven't apparently paid since September, I said, I set up autopay when I bought this house and moved. What are you talking about? Trying to keep my cool because I know the person on the other end of the phone, I've worked in customer service for too long. The person on the other end of the phone is not the problem. However, I am not doing well at keeping my cool. She goes, well, you owe however much it was. And I said, I don't care how much I owe. I can pay whatever the bill is. That's not the issue. I'm trying to understand how we got to this point. So I pay the bill. I call it back. I get the same girl. I said, well, you know what, Stephanie, it's not your lucky day. It's me again. I've paid my bill. I would really like my power to be turned on. And she goes, okay, let's do this, and asks me a couple of questions to verify it's me, to figure out what we're doing, blah, 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 all this stuff, right? I said, can I ask you a question while you're doing that? She goes, yes. I said, what is your policy on somebody that has never in years missed a payment to notify them that they've missed a payment? She goes, well, we send letters. I said, I never received a single letter, not one. She goes, yeah, they were returned to us. Excuse me? She goes, yeah, they were returned to us. I said, and your next step in the progression of notifying me would be? We didn't. The phone number that is on the account didn't ring a bell to anybody to say, hey, these letters are being returned, maybe we call? That's not our policy. I said, Stephanie, I'm trying really hard because I know this is not your fault, and I'm trying really hard not to lose my mind. I said, but none of this is making sense. I said, what address do you have on file? She repeats my old address. Ma'am, does it make sense to you that when I changed my service, I wouldn't have changed my address? She goes, nope, that makes sense. Okay. Like, you guys, needless to say, I apologize to sweet Stephanie that I was losing my mind because never in my life have I ever not paid a bill early or on time. I've never missed a bill. ever. I've never, ever been late. In my entire adult life, you guys, I'm 45. And might I remind you, I'm crazy about my credit score, which I understand in the grand scheme of things, it's not that big of a deal. But I was really proud of myself. I know that the top end of a credit score is 850. And that's what Tiffany's been shooting for because she's crazy. Okay. We've got this. I understand. I've gotten to a 830. That's the highest I've been able to get it. And it just doesn't work. Well, oddly enough, I got an email yesterday notifying me that my credit score had changed. I'm like, okay, maybe it dropped a couple of points or whatever. I made a large payment, and usually when you make a large payment, it drops a couple of points. I dropped 20 points, and I was like, this doesn't make any sense. Why would I drop 20 points? Like, now it all makes sense. I tell you that story only because the word that I got that made me cry before I got on here was talking about don't give up on your passion. And between some stuff that I'm not going to mention that's been really, really not sitting well with me, and a couple of things, and then my power going out or, well, being cut off. Let's be honest. I just feel like I just keep getting pushed. I take a few steps forward to do, my passion and to get to where I want to be and to help people. And I just feel like I just keep getting either thumped in the head or pushed backwards, whichever one makes you more upset. And I just started crying because he was talking about do not give up on God. Do not give up on your passion. He has brought you this far for a reason. And I literally and I'm going to start in a minute. I just started crying. You guys, I've been through a lot in my life. Things that people should never go through. If you don't know my story, if you haven't read my book or you haven't been listening to my podcast for long or whatever, I have a lot of sexual abuse in my past. That started at the age of 4. I was physically abused by a boyfriend in high school. I was raped and sodomized by a boyfriend in the military. I've had a hard life in some instances. I've had a good life, but I've been through some things that people just shouldn't have to go through. Nobody should have to go through those things. And because of that, and because of the losses in my life, and because I know what it feels like to just want the pain to end, that's why I wanted to start helping people. And, over the last couple of weeks, there's just been one thing after another, and I'm just like, what is going on? Like, I just want to help people. I want to be able to give people hope and show them that no matter how bad it gets, you can make it through. That I understand those days where you just want to quit. I 100% understand those days. I had many. When my dad died and my husband left, within 3 days, those two things happened. Losing my dad was my greatest fear my entire life. I used to have nightmares when I was like 7, 8. Like I was a kid having nightmares about my dad dying, and I would just freak out. And having to go through those two things at the same time, I still look back and am amazed that I'm here. Because, and I tell people all the time, you don't have to believe in God. You don't have to I don't care what your faith is. I don't care what your belief is. But in no way, shape, or form will anybody ever be able to convince me that there is not a God? Because when I was not able to get up and walk myself, I know for a fact he carried me. And he didn't carry me for a couple of minutes. He didn't carry me for a day. I mean, Jesus was carrying me for over a year because I was done. You guys, I begged him to end my life. I begged and pleaded and screamed. I didn't want to be here anymore. I didn't want to experience the pain. I just wanted it all to end. I missed my dad, who was my best friend in the whole world. And I couldn't lean on him in the midst of losing my husband and my husband being so hateful and cold and being stationed in a state with no friends. I knew no one. And I didn't want to live. I didn't want to experience the pain anymore. I wanted it all to stop. And it didn't, obviously. I'm still here 14 years later. But the only reason I'm here is because of my faith. The only reason I'm here is because, in my beliefs, my opinion, God has a purpose for me. I have to share my story to help other people, not because I want to. I mean, my gosh, you guys, look, I'm still crying. Like, it doesn't matter how long it's been since some of these things have happened. It still affects me. And all I want to do is be able to help people. And one of the things in the sermon this morning in I'm Annoyed was talking about how God doesn't put us on a path by ourselves. God has us collaborate with other believers so that we're strong. We're strong in numbers. And it makes me think that, there's been a couple of times I've reached out to people that I know that are on similar paths to help people with suicide, with not making that choice, with working through it, with talking, with, going out and doing speaking engagements. And I've reached out to one person in that area. I've reached out to one person that I know has similar background with sexual abuse that I have. And I'm not trying to put anybody on blast. I'm trying to strengthen my numbers to help more people because I want to be able to help as many people as I possibly can. I want to feel like I have a purpose to be here because I know that I do. I know that the only reason that I am still here is because God has a purpose. I have not reached someone out there that needs my help, my story, that can't be reached by somebody else. That's the thing that I try to get people to understand is there can be, people are talking all the time, oh, well, this area is saturated and this area is saturated. You don't want to do that. That's saturated. There's so many people doing that, blah, blah, blah. You don't understand. There are plenty of people that I can't reach because they're going to either look at me and see somebody they don't want to deal with. They're going to experience my personality and be like, that's not somebody that I can relate to. But there's also going to be people that say, you know what? I appreciate how vulnerable she is, how honest she is, how raw she is. That's the person that I need to talk to. I've said this before. It's just like you can put 5 different motivational speakers, inspirational speakers, whatever you want to call these people, coaches, strategists, there's a plethora of names for all the same stuff, okay? You can put 5 of them up on stage and you can have an auditorium full of people and when they're listening to each one speak, they're not going to get the same message. They're not going to get the message they need from every single one of those people because everybody has a different delivery. I know for a fact I am not everybody's cup of tea, and that is absolutely fine. I don't need to be because the reality is that would be a very boring world if we were all the same and we all engaged the same way. That's not, I don't know. I don't know who I'd be if we lived in that kind of a world. I wouldn't be the person I am because I can ruffle feathers, not intentionally, but just I'm just not I'm not fake. I don't like being fake. I don't like the surface conversations. I don't do well with small talk. I want substance. I want let's have a conversation. Let's talk about I don't know. There's for whatever reason when I said that, whales came into mind. You guys, we could talk about anything, just not, hey, so yeah, it's cold outside. Yeah, it is. Okay. We don't have to fill the air with small talk. I'm not one of those people. Some people are great at small talk. I'm not one of those people. In fact, today's message the second sermon that I listened to from Pastor Furtick was talking about I hate small talk. I hate fake people. Just let's be real. Let's be honest. Like, none of us are perfect. We all have flaws. And let's just own it because that's how you meet people where they are. That is how you are able to help people by being yourself, 100% authentically you. That's why I've tried to bring in people to collaborate so that we can go out together because I'm not going to be able to reach everybody. He's not going to be able to reach everybody. She's not going to be able to reach everybody. So I need different people to go out and have these speaking engagements and to interact with people because I want to be able to reach not me personally, but I want us to be able to reach as many people as we can. I want us to help as many people as we can because people deserve somebody out there that they can relate to that will keep them off the ledge, literally and figuratively. And I can't do that for everybody. And I'm mature enough to know that and be okay with it. I'm not hurt. I'm not sad. I'm not going to throw a tantrum because this person over here can't understand my message or can't relate to me because I'm too raw and I share too much, which is fine. But then there's other people that are grateful that I share too much and that I'm too honest about certain things because nobody else talks about certain things. I've discussed this before that there are physical wounds, there are scars, there are bruises, things that you can see, broken bones, whatever that you can see, those are some kind of things that need to be healed. But it's the things that people don't talk about, like a dysfunctional pelvic floor, not from having children. Not everybody can talk about that. Now, somebody that's had multiple children can have pelvic floor disorders and they can be able to speak on it. Oh, yeah, I had 3 kids and all of a sudden I'm not able to, laugh without peeing a little bit. Heard that story from a lot of friends. I don't know anything about that in that sense. But I do know what sexual trauma can do internally. That's the reason that that's my number one read blog. Because nobody's talking about it. It's not because I'm an expert. It's just because I'm telling you my true and honest experience. And that's not something that everybody wants to hear. And I understand that. I'm not going to stop and I'm not going to apologize because there's enough people out there that need to know that they're not alone in that struggle. Which is why we need to collaborate and we need to bring in other people that maybe are a little softer or they're a little peppier and cheerful. I'm not those people. Or maybe I need to bring in a male, which is what I've tried to do, because some people relate better to males than they do females. I can understand that just because, some of the things that I've been through oddly enough, some people make the assumption that because of my sexual trauma and my physical abuse trauma, that I don't want anything to do with males. Well, that's not true. I had such a great relationship with my dad. Males are who I actually gravitate towards, the good males, because I can get that sixth sense and be like, yeah, no, I don't need anything to do with you. But it's not always about the trauma that you've been through. So don't always make that assumption. Now, don't get me wrong, if somebody's been raped or sexually assaulted or physically abused by the opposite sex, they may very well have a problem with the opposite sex and not feel comfortable about around those people. And it's not the other person's fault. It's simply their own experiences, and they have to work through those if they choose to. But we're not all the same. So I say all of that because I want to be able to help people. That is my passion. Everybody says you have to get a niche. You have to have that one person you want to help. I want to help trauma survivors to understand that you can still have a good life. You can still have a good life. It is possible. You don't have to do it the way I do it. You don't have to share your story with hundreds of people, but you have to talk to somebody. Otherwise, you're going to keep bottling it up and it's not going to go anywhere until it does. And when it does, it's going to be like a freaking volcano. And it's probably going to happen on the wrong person. Speaking from experience. Because I didn't work through things for a very long time. So, I say all of that to say that is my goal. That I'm not giving up on God. I'm not giving up on what I believe is the road that I'm supposed to go down. And I just have to keep fighting through all of these little stumbling blocks along the way, because I will get there one way or another. I'm a little too stubborn for my own good. I will get there. It just depends on how it's going to happen and when it's going to happen. You know, there may be a reason that the people I have tried to collaborate with haven't jumped at the chance because either they're not ready, maybe God's saying I'm not ready, or it's not the right time. There's multiple reasons that this could be the case. And that's okay. I'll just keep helping people, you know, little by little, as much as I can in the little ways that I can, by, you know, a podcast episode, by a video on social media, by coaching people when I have the ability to. That's what I would love to be able to leave the corporate world and not have to deal with the bull crap that goes with that, and have my own coaching business full time, not just here and there and a little bit at a time, or one person here and one person there, whatever, full time, that could sustain me so that I'm not living in a cardboard box somewhere, you guys. Because I know that there are people out there that need help. I know. I needed help. The issue that I'm trying to fight against is reaching the people that are stubborn like me. Y'all thought I was going to say something else. That are stubborn like me and are not good at asking for help. Those are the people that I need to reach, because we are some stubborn humans. Let me tell you. But I know that it'll work out. It'll work out in God's timing. I have completely given my life to God. My trust is in God. I know there is a plan. And I think that because I've started making these changes and these turns and getting back to where I need to be, and distancing myself from those I need to distance myself from, and not tolerating some of the ridiculousness that I was previously tolerating and involved in, things are going to get better. Things are going to get better one way or another. one way or another. I'll keep praying about it. I will keep looking for avenues to reach out and help people, and I will keep taking coaching clients. And I'll do that until I can move on. Or I find, a nonprofit or something that I can feel like I'm serving a purpose. Because that's one of the hardest things for me is there's been 2 jobs that I've had in my adulthood that I felt like I had a purpose, and, one was definitely the military. I absolutely loved being in the military until things happened. God had a different plan, and, uh, and a retail job that I had that I will not speak of now, but I loved, absolutely loved, and I loved that I was able to help people, and I felt like I was actually making a difference in people that I worked with's lives and customers' lives. Um, and then apparently God had a different plan, and that was taken away. And now I'm doing what I need to do to pay the bills. And I will do what I need to do to pay the bills until I'm able to help people and pay the bills in my next endeavor or career or whatever it may be. But please, please understand you have a purpose. We all have a purpose. We all have a passion and a desire within us. Don't give up on it. God may be asking you to wait. Or if you're trying to collaborate with somebody, they need to wait. So therefore, you have to wait. Whatever the case may be, it just may be timing. So don't give up. Please don't give up because everybody has a purpose. They all have something that we need to do. And if we give up on it, then somebody's going to miss out. If I quit trying to help people and sharing my story, the reality is somebody may commit suicide because I wasn't able to reach them. I can't live with that. And I'm not saying it's that drastic for whatever your passion is and what your desire is, but it is that drastic for me because I know that feeling and I don't want to let those people down. So therefore, I will take my lumps and I will keep on ticking. And that's just how it's going to be. So, what did we learn today, you guys? Because I always feel like there needs to be a purpose to my episodes, and it's not just me rambling. Today, we learned if we have a passion, if we have a purpose, whatever our desire is to do in life, we need to pursue that. It doesn't mean that it's going to happen in our time. I think that's one of the struggles, especially for Christians, that man, we want it now. Right now. Let's do it now. Come on. Let's get this done. And God's like, "Yeah, you might have to wait a minute." I mean, God had Moses and then wait 40 years. So, I mean, I don't think I have 40 years left, but I don't know. He knows. So, don't give up. Please know that you have a purpose and that you need to live out your heart's desire. We all do. I hope that somebody got something out of this. Y'all can always reach out. You can leave a comment, reach out however you feel comfortable. I would love to hear from you. I'm always looking for suggestions or comments or feedback and new clients. So, if any of those things pertain to you, by all means, jump on it, let me know. Other than that, you guys have an amazing day. Please keep smiling. Remember that you are not alone. You are freaking spectacular. Go and be blessed.